everyone. Thanks for having me, and thanks for being so agile to squeeze me in now, because we had a bit of a appointment scheduling confusion. So I'm happy to talk with you about an interesting new gig that's coming up, which is called corporate venture building. Perhaps some of you remember I used to work in venture building actually for quite a long time. I used to run Rocket Internet in Southeast Asia, and I now moved to a bit of the corporate side, and happy to talk you through what that actually is, how this may impact the startup ecosystem, and why I believe it's actually quite exciting. Quick intro about BCG DV. We are part of Boston Consulting, but we are not consultants. We are venture builder. We build companies, but we always do that together with a corporate partner. We are, I think, now the largest venture builder in the world. We built, I think, 30 businesses worldwide last year, which I think is more than a couple of the other big names you would think of, including Rocket, launched last year around the world. And I'm super happy to be back here in the ecosystem, because I'm leading now our new Singapore office. I already saw a lot of familiar faces, and I think the whole topic about venture building and corporates getting more engaged in venture building will be a very big new theme, which may also raise some interesting questions, right? So for the startups who have been cooperating with corporates, would that mean there's a new competitor on the block? Will VC money not flow into, or will corporate money not flow into VCs to become LPs in some of the funds, but probably will some corporates start to build their own companies and invest money there? So I think a couple of very interesting questions and dynamics to think about. As said, global team, Singapore office, happy to be back in the region. A couple of companies we built very fast. We built, for example, a blockchain venture together with De Beers. We built with Bosch, now Europe's largest e-scooter sharing business called Coop. We helped Lippo to launch OVO, you probably all know, and here in Malaysia, we helped Cellcom to build Boost. We are currently also doing some other interesting stuff in the B2B space with Petronas. So actually a lot of exposure already for us in the region, and it's now time for us to build a permanent team here in the region instead of flying in people from around the world. When you think about this guy, this may be a familiar face to some of you, right? So the big problem a lot of the corporates have is saying, yeah, startups, we can do a bit of small POC, we can do a bit of partnership, but actually this is all not working, right? So we may cannibalize ourselves, we have our internal kind of turf wars on who is actually owning what, will this fly into my budget, on my P&L. We want to have a 5-year business plan, and not a business plan that's changing tomorrow. We of course don't want to fail. I don't want to risk my corporate career. We think about the way we did things in the past, etc., and we rather want to do an analysis till we die instead of just trying out things. And by the way, that's a big fight we're having sometimes with our colleagues at BCG, because they also love to analyze. We love to do and try out things and then learn, fail, like most of you guys, but this is for sure not the corporate mindset. However, all corporates here in the region, everywhere in the world, they do more and more with startups, and they are doing kind of all of different things. Digital labs, accelerators, partnership units, putting money into VCs, or incubating. So you see that this is actually a super rising and interesting topic, but you probably also have observed yourselves that I think nobody has really figured out how to do it. I think in Singapore last year, I think 3, 4, even 5 accelerators just all closed down. Before that, there were kind of 10 accelerators doing exactly all the same thing, attracting all the same startups with all the same programs. So I think there's still a lot of things to do and to really kind of, crack when it comes to corporate and startup partnerships. And these numbers are probably also quite interesting. We did some interviews around the world. Basically, if you have a 50% or I like it and a 50% failure quota, for me that means it's totally random. Yeah, so corporates and startups work together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. What tells us that? Nothing, right? So it basically tells us it's completely unstructured and nobody has really figured out a winning formula. So what we believe is important when you think about collaborating with corporates, but also when you think about corporate venture building, what we are doing is 3 things. First is be very clear why you're doing it. What's your goal? What's the rationale for building a new company or partnering? So what's in it for both sides? Second is do it always with a VC mindset. So think about the economics. Think about would you invest money yourself into this business, and don't think about it like this is a kind of another corporate project or something. And then most importantly, only do it when you create very close links to your core business. And I think that is a point that a lot of people forget, both on the corporate and the startup sides, to really think through how can I unlock assets of the corporate with a startup approach. So when you think about some of these examples I mentioned, for De Beers, I mean the biggest diamond trader in the world, to use blockchain to trace the authenticity of diamonds was kind of close to their core business. They could leverage on day one relationships to I don't know how many mines, diamond dealers, and even own shops. When we built Coop for Bosch, they could leverage a huge expertise in building e-scooters and building and engineering these kind of products. And of course, OVO could tap into all Lippo Group assets in Indonesia through co-promotion from day one, same as for Boost. So that is, I think, for me, the most crucial point when you want to make that work. And what I believe, this whole trend of corporates getting involved into the startup space, let it be with partnerships, but also let it be with venture building, will for sure intensify. And I think that's kind of the good news for me to end the story is, yes, it has been quite random. Yes, everybody kind of has had their failures, but nobody is willing to give up yet. Yeah, so there's a lot of interest of kind of actually getting more involved, doing more, and that's why also very frankly why we are very happy to be in this region and kind of pushing also our model forward, where we see a lot of demands from corporates to say, in a portfolio approach, yes, I still continue invest in ventures myself, or I set up my corporate venture capital fund. Yes, I still do partnerships, accelerator programs, and POCs with younger startups. But also, yes, I know that there are some things that I probably want to do myself, and I want to own because I can put my assets in to make it a huge success. So for this, I probably go the corporate venture building model, and I believe we'll see a couple of very exciting ventures backed by corporates, but also founded and co-founded by corporates going forward in the region. Thanks so much for your attention. Happy to catch up with everyone on questions. Just connect with me. And thanks so much for your time and squeezing me in now. Thank you.